This mural was designed and created by lead artist Anne Northrop. This mural occupies the entire west wall of the Williams Way Center, the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community in Philadelphia. The mural is 55 by 165 foot wide. It depicts a gay pride festival. Some of the surrounding buildings, nearby landmarks, including the Drake Hotel, are included in the mural. On the far left side of the mural is a man pasting up a poster depicting the Civil Rights March held in 1966. This section gives a historic and political context to the mural. The rest of the mural reveals a sunny plaza with a crowd of celebrants. The area approximately bounded by the Chestnut, Pine, Juniper, 11th Streets within Washington Square West is known as the neighborhood. It is also named because of its large concentration of gay and lesbian-friendly small businesses, services, and restaurants and gay bars. 84.6% of LGBT students reported being verbally harassed, 40.1% reported being physically harassed, and 18.8% reported being physically assaulted at school in the past year because of their sexual orientation. Nowadays, coming out to your parents about your sexual orientation can be quite a difficult task. Most people just sit around depressed and cause themselves harm by hiding themselves and not being open about their sexual orientation. For most, it can be frightening and a bit scary, but for most, it can be easily at their own time. Nowadays, it becomes a task for most, but I believe that the right time is the time to open up to your parents and let them know about yourself, about your sexual orientation, and it will change a lot.
My name is Lexis Dean. I'm 20 years old. I am a junior at Philadelphia University. My major is fashion merchandising, and I work at Children's Place. I also work at the library on my campus. I've been open about my sexuality to everyone 2 years. To my friends, I want to say 4 years. Came out to them when I was 16. I came out to some of my family when I was 18, and then I came out to my parents when I was 19. Well, when I came out to my mom, she didn't say anything to me first, per se. She just called me and said, I want to have a conversation with Gabby, and Gabby's my girlfriend. But she didn't really say anything to me. So, not until after they got into a big argument. And then me, her, and my dad sat down, and she said pretty much she doesn't agree with my lifestyle. She didn't think it was, me. She thought someone else was making me do it. But my dad told her, you have to accept her for who she is, like she's your child. And he said that he would love me unconditionally, like he wouldn't treat me any differently. So I expected my dad's reaction to be completely opposite. And I guess the same thing for my mom. Like, I expected my dad to be the one that was really mad, and I expected my mom to be the one like, no, love your child unconditionally. But it was the other way around. I am closer to my dad now because of this. And me and my mom, it's still awkward when we're in the room together. Days it's a good day, and other days it's bad. And I can get random phone calls from her telling me to not drop out of school. And yeah, she doesn't really congratulate me on the good things that's going on in my life. She just kind of thinks that everything I'm doing is like downhill and going wrong when it's the complete opposite. I'm a lot more comfortable than what I was. I don't feel like I have to hide it, like I have to fake like I'm looking at a bunch of guys with my friends when I know really I'm looking at his girlfriend. So I feel a lot more comfortable with myself now that I'm out to everyone.
My name is Austin Snellbaker. I am 20 years old and I was born in Red Lion, Pennsylvania. Well, I'm an artist. I am studying at University of the Arts in Philadelphia right now. I'm doing fashion photography, and I want to do like couture design, so kind of like costuming and stuff like that. I'm really into that, so I consider myself very androgynous. I'm very much into androgynous fashion and just kind of being gender fluid, so I'm like a loving person. I love people, I love to help people, and things like that, so. I've been open for about 3 years now. It came out in 2012. I was 17. I came out midway through my junior year of high school. So my friends were like the first people to know. Yes, I was scared to come out at first, just because like my family's very conservative and the town I live in is very conservative, and a lot of my friends were very open about it. Like they were just like very open people. But when I did first come out, a lot of my friends were like, oh, we kind of already knew you were gay. We kind of already were assuming that you were gay and we were waiting for you to come out. So I mean, that kind of shocked me a little bit, but more than anything, I was more scared of what my family was gonna think, more than my friends. Yes, I was 18 when I came out to my parents, because my birthday's in June, so junior year ended and then the summer started. So I turned 18 and I told my mom right before I left for Germany, which was interesting. I think she was very shocked by that. And then I told my dad a few months later, I think like 2 months after I told my mom, so I didn't tell them at the same time. Probably shouldn't have told her the way I did, because I was getting ready to go to Germany for 3 weeks to study abroad. But I was talking to a guy already by this point, and by this point only my friends had known in school. So like, I mean, this was like end of junior year, I was getting ready to start senior year, only my friends knew at this point, and I was like, you know, like obviously I'm gonna have to tell my family soon. And I was really upset to leave, because, you know, I'm talking to this guy, you know, you get all giddy and you don't want to leave him. So I started crying, because I was like, Mom, I'm really sad to leave, you know, I'm going to be away for 3 weeks, like I'm going to miss home, and you know, I've been talking to someone, I'm really upset. And she's like, oh, well, that, you know, it's okay, like, you know, you'll be home, you'll be able to see him. And that's when I just started breaking down, like I started crying, and I was like, but Mom, I was like, the person I'm talking to it's not a girl, it's a boy. And I mean, like, it's funny now, like right before Germany, like really, like you're getting ready to leave for a flight in 2 hours and you're gonna tell your mom this, but she was just like, well, okay, you know, like that's fine, you know, you're my son, I love you. You know, she's like, that doesn't change anything. And I do remember just being like, Mom, like how did you not know already? And she's just like, well, I don't know, I never really gave it much thought. But my aunt, on the other hand, when I came out to my aunt, she already knew I was gay. She was like, you don't even have to tell me. She's like, I know you're going on a date with a boy. She's like, I knew you were gay since you were like 5 years old. She's like, I just always knew. I always knew. Your uncle knows. Like, we all know. So, my dad he just seemed to be very kind of confused. Like, he didn't really seem to understand it. And I remember him asking me, well, you're not gonna have, you know, like a sex change or anything, are you? And I'm just kind of like, Dad, like, I'm just gay. Like, it's okay. But it took him a couple weeks, and then, you know, he kind of told me, you're my son and I love you for who you are, and if you're happy, then I'm happy for you. And my mom told me the same thing. She said, as long as you're happy, you're my son, I love you, and that's all that matters. Well, I mean, a funny story about my dad, though. I remember when I came out to him, he did tell me afterward, that, I do accept you and I love you, but I remember his initial reaction was, like, I remember the whole moment. I remember we went out to eat and I was like, okay, like, it's time for me to tell my dad. A lot had been building up. I felt like we were growing distant, and I was like, okay, like, my mom knows, my aunt knows, all my friends know, so it's time to tell my dad. I remember we went out to my car, I was gonna say goodbye to him, and I remember he lit up a cigarette, and I remember he had the cigarette like in his mouth, and I remember he looked at me and I was like, Dad, I was like, I'm dating a guy. Like, I didn't even really at first say like, Dad, I'm gay. It was, Dad, I'm dating a guy. And he just kind of like looked at me with the cigarette like hanging out of his mouth and was just kind of like, okay, cigarette hanging out. And like, that was just kind of it. And he was like, well, I love you. And then he hugged me and left. And then after that was when he was kind of like called me up frantically, like, oh my gosh, like, you're not getting a sex change or anything, or, like, is it a phase, or like, are you sure? Like, I'm like, yes, Dad, like, I'm sure. So, I don't think my relationship with my parents necessarily changed, but it did have more of like a positive impact in that I felt like I could come out to them about more things. I could be more open with them, and I felt as if they finally understood who I was. So in a way it did change things, but like, it wasn't horrible, but I didn't feel like I was lying to my parents anymore, which was a lot better for me, because for a long time I always, like, I wanted to spend more time with my mom and do things with my mom, and like, my mom always liked getting her nails done and things like that. And, my dad was always into football and stuff like that, and I could just never get into it. And so like, once my dad just kind of knew I was like a prima donna, he just kind of joked around with me about it, and it wasn't like, oh, you gotta come watch football with me and stuff now. So I would say that's probably how it changed. I love myself. I definitely have a confidence that I think people see, like, even before they really know who I am. A lot of people tell me all the time, you're very confident, you seem to really love who you are, and I've just learned to embrace it. I don't really feel like I'm that different anymore. I feel normal. I feel more myself than I ever have in my life. So yes, I'm very happy. I feel like I'm finally doing the things that I want to. Being young, I was always just very feminine. I was always the pretty boy, I was into heels and things like that, and makeup, like, things like that always intrigued me and stuff. And like, I remember hanging out with girlfriends, and like, I always wanted to do stuff that they did, and but like, I always felt like I was kind of hiding it. Like, why am I not doing these things? I feel like I should be doing them. And so yeah, now I'm definitely like, I wear makeup all the time, I wear whatever I want to, I do whatever I want, and my family knows that very clearly too. Like, I've stated that I'm gonna do what I want, and I love it, and so they respect me for that. So advice I could give to people that are scared to come out to their parents would be, you just have to go for it. You just have to go for it. And for me, I knew the time was right, and I think for everybody, you'll know when the time is right. And I know a lot of times parents can be different. I know a lot of times moms are usually a lot more, I guess, like, open-minded and usually more accepting, at least from my experience, people I've talked to. The dads a lot of times are usually people that are a lot more like, because when you have a son especially and they, come out to be gay, I mean, like, my dad was kind of shocked because, like, he's thinking, oh, I'm gonna have a son to, watch football games with, and, I'm gonna get to take him to strip clubs, and, and it's just like, not like that, but you just know that if you love yourself and your parents, you know, want you to be happy, then they will accept you. It's just sometimes it takes time, and that's another thing. You just have to know it takes time, and that things will get better, and that not everyone is going to react the same. And like, I mean, I was lucky that both of my parents were very, you know, accepting, not very like, you know, they didn't, you know, try to shun me away from the family or anything. But so just be confident in it, know who you are, and you just gotta tell them like they're your parents. So okay, advice that I could give to parents, I mean, you have to love your child no matter what. And I think that parents should just know that once your child does come out and they are confident in who they are, things are gonna get better. And the more that you support them and just let them know that no matter what, that you love them, then that honestly just makes everything. Like, because a lot of people in my family, some people it was more rough with, and I just kind of had to let them know that this is who I am and it's who I'm gonna be. I'm family. As long as you just respect my decision and you respect me and you just love me because I'm a family member, then that's all that matters to me. That it will make me happy. So I would just say that you just have to let them be happy.
We are all created equal. No matter our race, our color of our skin, or our sexual orientation, we are all human and we all love the same. We all breathe the same.
She keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. I'm not crying on Sundays. I'm not crying on Sundays.
Give yourself the chance to live happy, accepting who you are. Take it from experience. When it all seems dark, it would become all clear when you finally come out and accept who you are. It will create a level of confidence that will allow you to take on any obstacle and any rocky road ahead of your journey. Just be happy and love yourself. We are one. We are together. We are equal.